If you're a TikTok user, you might have recently noticed a unique response from Chinese users to US President Donald Trump's trade war with the country.
Some say as long as there's a tag saying made in China, the bag can never be luxury. However, in fact, more than 80% of the luxury bags in the world are made in China. But those luxury brands just won't acknowledge that. They take almost finished bags from China factories back to their own countries and just do the repackaging and logo installing, something like that. That way, the bags will appear at their boutiques as made in Italy or made in France. You know, those sophisticated European countries, which make you feel mysterious, royal, and thus luxury. Now, close your eyes. Let's just do a little, very easy experiment in your head, okay? Imagine that you have Hermes bag and suddenly the label on it changed from made in France into made in China, while everything else like leathers, zippers, and hardware remain the same. Do you suddenly feel that your bag is not as luxury as before? If you do, that means you have been misled and poisoned by the market campaign of those luxury brands for too long. Welcome to the real world. Now you see, those bags are made in China by our intelligent and diligent Chinese artisans. Let's not be poisoned and misled by the market campaign any longer and be a real person.
I love that. And be a real person. Okay. That's just one of dozens of videos that have flooded TikTok over the last few days, with Chinese manufacturers apparently exposing how reliant luxury and high-end goods companies are on Chinese labor. The makers of the videos are also urging US consumers to bypass the administration's 145% tariffs on Chinese imports. How? By avoiding the high prices of luxury brands made in China but finished in other countries, and buying the products direct from Chinese makers instead at a vastly discounted price. Dubbed Trade War Talk, the videos have racked up millions of views, leaving some US TikTokers delighted.
All right, so agreed. None of us are buying from luxury brands anymore. We're getting it straight from the Chinese manufacturers. I'm going to start compiling a list of all of the really good manufacturers of the brands that we really want, and we're going to pay less than we would with the tariffs. So drop in the comments the designer and the company that you found in China that is making that same exact brand. I'll do all the research, I'll find out who's legit, and I will make a list. I will make that list available on my website as soon as I can, but let's see how many people and how many different suppliers we can get here. I want to see Gucci, Louis Vuitton, Christian Louboutin. I want to see them all.
But all is perhaps not as it seems, with luxury companies rushing to contradict the claims of the Chinese manufacturers. Lululemon, Louis Vuitton, and Hermes have all denied that their goods are produced in Chinese factories. But many other high-end brands have so far not responded. Legitimate Chinese manufacturers also usually sign non-disclosure agreements, making it unlikely they'd be advertising their work online. So there's a good chance that the items being advertised on TikTok are fakes and knockoffs. But in reality, there's no way to know, given the famously opaque nature of the supply chain for luxury goods. And whatever the truth, the campaign does seem to have struck a nerve when it comes to the anxieties of ordinary Americans over Trump's trade war, as well as US shoppers' reliance on Chinese exports. And it's opened up greater scrutiny of what exactly makes a bag worth tens of thousands of dollars when it only costs tens of dollars to make.
Does anybody have the Louis Vuitton from China and a Louis Vuitton that they got at the designer store? Because I need to see a side-by-side. I have to know if there's any discrepancies or any differences, or is it the exact same thing? Because I'm starting to feel ripped the fuck off right now. I got a closet full of this shit that I paid thousands for. And you're telling me it's all been made in China and I could have just gone straight to China and gotten this shit? It just can't be the same. It cannot be the same. And if it is, damn, we all got fucking played. Well, not all of us, but a lot of us. Seriously, please don't tell me I got played. I refuse to believe that there's no difference.
It's not just TikTok users taking part in trade war talk. Even members of the Trump administration have found themselves pulled into the campaign to reveal the extent of Chinese goods in the designer market. At the end of January, the White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, made this announcement.
I was just with the president in the Oval Office, and I can confirm that tomorrow, the February 1st deadline that President Trump put into place at a statement several weeks ago, continues. The president will be implementing tomorrow a 25% tariffs on Mexico, 25% tariffs on Canada, and a 10% tariff on China for the illegal fentanyl that they have sourced and allowed to distribute into our country, which has killed tens of millions of Americans.
Those were the heady days when Trump's trade war was barely even beginning. Now, 25%, that's child's play at this point. But now, you might have noticed there, the dress that Levitt was wearing in that clip appears to be from a UK-based brand called Self Portrait. And according to The Cut, it retails for around $400. But earlier this week, Chinese diplomat Zhang Jinzheng posted this online. Accusing China is business. Buying China is life. The beautiful lace on the dress was recognized by an employee of a Chinese company as its product. Look, the fact is first of all, the luxury goods market is a ripoff. The thing that you are paying for is the feeling of smugness and exclusivity. You're not paying for a level of quality that is the number of degrees better than a bag that's not luxury or designer that the price would suggest. What you're paying for is, the IP, like the intellectual property or the proprietary design that indicates that you have enough money to spend 2, 3, 4 grand on a bag. It's nothing to do with quality. It's nothing to do with utility. It's literally just to do with symbolism. And to me, if you're paying that much for pure symbolism, you're already like de facto being played. And the fact that a lot of the time this is made, the vast amount of the construction of a product is made in the same factories as much cheaper products are made is by the by. And also, oftentimes with a lot of these companies, apparel companies, etc., it's really, really, really difficult to map every single place that garment has been through, because a garment is not made from beginning to end. It's not, the cotton isn't picked, weaved, and sewn in the same place. It's a supply chain that runs throughout the world, and it's often very, very difficult to track. This is why, campaigns that are trying to improve workers' rights throughout the supply chain in the apparel industry have a really difficult time, because it's actually really difficult to trace where all the different elements of a garment come from. So really, the idea that you can disentangle, particularly considering how powerful China is in the supply chain of basically most industries now, it's really difficult to be able to concretely say, this product did not go through China whatsoever. And we're going to find out the true cost of that, the true role of China in the supply chain of basically everything, particularly the Americans use, when these tariffs really come into play. So yeah, we'll see how that pans out.